We all love a good home makeover project, and a simple can of paint can transform almost anything. But how do you know when to paint and when to pass? It's a design dilemma that we are defining today. DIY expert and renovation specialist Michelle Hinckley is here to explore the options when it comes to painting pieces in our home. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I think this is something we all like to think we might know, but we don't. We need your help. We need your help because we shouldn't just paint anything.
Correct.
Yeah. So you're gonna help us, and let's start with the big one, which is, I think, furniture. You say it depends whether or not you should paint a piece of furniture.
You're exactly right. It really does depend. I think a lot of people will jump into furniture refinishing or furniture painting and think, oh, I should totally just paint this and it'll look great. But case in point, I came across and acquired a beautiful mid-century buffet. It was wood, the lines were great, the bones were great, but it was dinged, it was chipped, it had scratches. And so I thought, instead of refinish this, which is gonna cost a lot more money, I'm just going to paint it. So I painted it in a poppy green, which we see here. And
so
then,
cute.
Thank you. And then I decided to sell it because I didn't need it anymore. When I put it online, the reviews are really mixed. A lot of people just thought it was so cool. But then there were some people who were furniture purists who came out of the woodwork, and they really scolded me and said, why would you paint such a beautiful piece? You've ruined it. So you really have to use a lot of caution and be very careful in considering what you're going to paint and what not.
Right, but this was for you. You weren't pleasing furniture purists. You were seeing what you would want in your own home. So
Absolutely.
I think you get to do what you want.
You can do whatever you want. It is so true, but there are some things to consider, which we will talk about.
Yeah, you said there are a few questions we can ask before we take a paintbrush to our furniture.
Yes, there are a lot of questions you should be asking. So first of all, what are your long-term goals with this piece? Are you going to give this to someone? What kind of condition is it in? Do you want to sell this down the road? Are you going to keep it for yourself? And then what is the value of the piece? So first of all, always start by researching how much is this worth before you go slap paint on it. Maybe you've got a real gem and putting paint on it might actually ruin the value. What kind of condition is it in? If it's in bad condition, then yes, paint might be a really great option to spruce it up. Are you going to give this to your kids down the road? If so, painting it a poppy green might not be as popular then down the road as it is now. So ask yourself these questions before you decide to paint.
Yeah, the long-term goal. I like taking that into consideration. So you have a recommendation for us if we are going to paint. What is it? We got to hear.
So let me just preface this by saying I really want to give people confidence to go out and be creative with paint. However, your piece is only going to be as good as the time, the prep, the product you put on it. So again, the first thing, research how much it's going to cost. Next, if you do decide that you're going to paint it, go talk to a paint expert or look online, look at Pinterest, see what kind of paints people are recommending to use on the type of piece that you're going to paint. And then once you do that, go ahead and paint it. But here's the thing, I think a lot of people think that painting is the end all, but there is so much work that goes into it.
The prep is everything,
oh my
right?
gosh, the prep takes way longer than actually painting the piece. So you have to degrease it, you have to clean it, you have to sand it, there's the taping, and then painting actually takes very little time. So remember, the product and the effort you put into it is going to be as good as the piece in the end goal.
So it's all the prep work. We know that is the main thing. But if we do decide to paint, there is a brand that you do like.
There are actually so many brands that I really like. It really depends on the actual piece. So if you are a newbie, the thing that I would recommend is go to a paint store and ask them. This is a really cool product that I have just been turned on to called Retique It. What's so great about it is it actually has wood chips ground up in the paint. So you first add a primer and then you put this really cool stain on it, but you brush the stain on so it actually looks like wood. It's really excellent. So again, there are so many different types of products out there. Go talk to someone at Sherwin-Williams and ask them what they would recommend. Show them pictures of your piece.
Okay, let's talk about something very controversial, painting brick. What are your thoughts?
I love that people are updating their homes, the exterior of their homes, by painting them. It gives it such a fresh look. I actually did this to my home last year. You can see that I had this really dated sort of speckled brick. Some people love it, some people don't. I was over it, so we decided to go for it. And I will tell you, it took me 3 years to pull the trigger and actually commit to doing it. I had read horror stories online about people who had painted their brick and then a few years later it was chipping or bubbling. The thing that I have found is that if you use a product that seals the brick, that's no good. You think that's a good thing. With indoors, that is a good thing. But with brick needs to breathe, and if there's moisture trapped in the brick, it's going to come out and make your paint bubble or chip or fail over time. So you want to make sure that you're using a mineral paint that will allow your brick to breathe.
Oh, good tip. That totally makes sense. Okay, what else are you giving us permission to paint?
Anything. You can paint anything. I have painted baskets, fabric, pillowcases. In fact, I spray painted this book cart. You can do spray paint. Again, make sure that it's very clean and that you're going over all the instructions. I actually found 2 panels from IKEA right here. These are refrigerator panels that were on clearance. We didn't want to commit to painting the wall. I taped them up, I painted over the tape, I removed the tape, and this was the design that I was left with. So that pillowcase right there, that's painted.
Wow.
You really can do a lot of projects with paint.
You can paint anything. Okay, if we are going to paint a wall, you didn't pull the trigger on the wall, but if we are, you say there's lots of fun ideas we could do for our walls too.
People are coming out with the most ingenious products when it comes to paint. I'm loving the paint markers right now. What you can do with those, it's actually just as it sounds. It's a tube of paint that has a felt tip that you use just like a marker. I did this with a paint marker.
Wow.
I used a ruler. I did a herringbone pattern on the wall. I graffitied up my boys' wall with things that they were interested in. You can do other things than just roll on paint. You can do designs. You can mimic the look of wallpaper. The sky really is the limit.
I love it. I love that you're giving us permission to do this. I think a lot of us are nervous to do it, and so you're just saying go for it, but get expert advice.
Yes, yes.
That's
do
the
your
key.
research first.
Okay. Okay, where can people find more from you, Michelle?
4 Men, 1 Lady blog. So the number 4, the number 1, 4 Men, 1 Lady blog.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet.